I'm Brandon Campbell. I'm the head of software for Invisible Urban Charging. We are a charging as a service company that is accelerating the transition to electric transport on a global scale. Software as a mobile app that a driver would use in a charging session that facilitates the exchange of electrons into their vehicle, and we charge for that. So there's transactional fees that occur there. And by providing that at scale across the world, we meet our goal of facilitating that transition and becoming the largest charging as a service company in the world, hopefully. I am a very big believer in having both US-based local source resources as well as an offshore team. I think when you communicate with a team that's offshore, it teaches you to communicate well. It teaches you to rely on iteration, as opposed to a lot of our culture here in the United States is very interrupt driven. Not just because you're interested in working with American companies and not just New Zealand companies, but also the way that I think you're starting to scale the business. And where my career really took off, and probably the most notable quote that I have on my career, is that we were able to build incredible throughput in my teams because of a 24-hour development cycle. Now that doesn't mean that everybody's awake coding all the time, because as you know, being an engineer yourself, it's not about coding all the time. It's about coding the right things. So working smarter, not harder. And so you really feel like you're working with a global one team sort of mindset. Putti exemplifies the buzzwords that a lot of companies are looking for. So agile, iterative, product-minded, data-minded, all those kinds of things. But it doesn't feel forced, where it's more about having the right process. It's more about empathy with the product vision, with the problem to be solved. So solve the problem. I think gone are the days where you had the Jason Fried sort of Basecamp companies that they realized they had a great product because they solved their own problem first. So I do appreciate that Putti, in that empathy with the client's problem, will also look to see if they can build their own tools to help solve that problem better, And in that regard, you may realize at some point outside of a client's IP that you're onto a product that didn't exist because you were solving a problem with it, And I think that's the most true way in software product development to build something that makes a difference and is valuable. Putti's members are far exceed most of the American teams that I've worked with over 20 years, both in technical capability, but as well as in ability to communicate and be empathetic with stakeholders.